Welcome to another video for Atlas Tech. Usually I do just Let's Plays for my nieces and nephews, but today I wanted to throw together a quick kind of build highlighting video for my clan. I've been playing around with the exotic Ergo, and they recently released its catalyst, which is very effective at creating ammo for this sword. So I kind of just been playing around with it, and I'm really enjoying the build, and I wanted to kind of share what I've got. I haven't seen anybody doing quite exactly the same build that I run, so I thought I'd share this. So we'll just go through it real quick and kind of lay it out for you. So starting off, the focus is the Ergo Sum. So the other two weapons are kind of just whatever you want to fill any gaps that you feel like there are in the build, or for the content that you're bringing this into. We are running this on Prismatic, which just makes sense. The sword is built to work with the Prismatic subclass. So the subclass here was to try and take advantage of as many things as possible while using the sword, and to try and get transcendent energy as quickly as possible, both light and dark. So the sword that I'm using is the Arc Conductor sword primarily, using it for ad clear, so I'm doing a lot of light damage just right off the bat with that Arc Conductor. It's just clearing enemies like crazy. So we focus here a little bit more on dark energy to try and fill up the other side of the bar, so that's why we're using Threadling Grenade and the Weaver's Call. So we're throwing out threadlings quite a bit, and we're pairing that with the Swarmer's Exotic, so that those threadlings will unravel targets, and those unraveled targets will create tangles, which will create more threadlings. So that's predominantly where our dark damage or dark transcendent energy is coming from. We're pairing that with Feed the Void to just give back our grenade energy and to create survivability for our character with those heals. And then we're running Phoenix Dive so that we can activate Weaver's Call more often. It's the quickest way to do that. Plus, it does provide you a small heal, or even heal your team, so that's beneficial. The jump doesn't necessarily matter. I love using Blink when I feel comfortable in the area that I can get to everywhere I need to go with Blink, just because it lets me move around with the sword that much faster. But burst glide or strafe glide, whatever you're more comfortable with, is fine. And then for our melee, I'm using Chain Lightning, and the reason behind that is we're really not using our melee very much because we have our sword out almost exclusively. But having an arc ability on my bar makes it so that I'm capable of becoming amplified, and that's a very beneficial buff. So that is pretty much just there so that we can become amplified. So going through the fragments really quick. So I've got Facet of Courage so that my my light abilities are dealing increased damage to enemies that are affected by darkness debuffs. So the unraveling debuff that swarmers and our threadlings are spreading everywhere means that it's pretty much always up, getting this extra damage. Then we've got Facet of Honor, so collecting elemental pickups or destroying tangles will give us the same transcendent energy. So like those, we are creating ionic traces from a different facet. So whenever we pick those up, we're getting light energy. When we're destroying tangles, we're getting dark energy. So just more bringing both of those energy things full. Facet of Dominance. This is just a really great facet for just dealing more damage. Our Void Grenades weaken targets, and Arc Grenades jolt targets. So you could switch this to an Arc Grenade if you felt like, for you, the Darkness meter was filling up fast enough with just the Weaver's Call threadlings. But where this is really kicking in is when we go into Transcendence, then our grenade becomes a Void Grenade. And so that is proccing the weaken on our targets. So then Facet of Awakening, rapidly defeating targets with light or darkness damage or super final blows generates an elemental pickup of the matching damage type. So this is creating more tangles. It's also making it so that our arc conductor, as it reaches out with the arc damage and kills enemies, it's creating ionic traces, which are giving us back a lot of ability energy really well. And then finally, I'm using Facet of Purpose. Picking up an Orb of Power grants amplified Restoration, Frost Armor, or Woven Mail, or Overshield based on the damage of your equipped super. And really, you can run any super that you want with this. A lot of times I run a Song of Flame because I find that that super is just very fun to play and very effective, which means that orbs are giving me restoration. But really, you could run any of them and take advantage of that. The only one I would maybe recommend against is Storm Trance because we're already becoming amplified. So this facet doesn't really serve a purpose. If you do want to run Storm Trance, then maybe find a different facet to replace with this one because it's not going to benefit you as much. So that is the build essentially. I do have Arc Siphon on my helmet and Special Ammo Finder. I'm not sure if I need that or not. Ammo economy is pretty efficient with this setup, and that might be something I take off later. I do have Firepower on my gauntlets just to create some more orbs out there. Um, the armor is just resistances and things. I do have surges on my boots, arc for the sword, and solar for my heavy weapon, and then time dilation, and these are pretty flexible. I feel as well. I try to keep artifact mods out of my builds just because I want them to work between seasons. But this season, a couple things to point out is radiant orbs, meaning that you're radiant so that your weapons can take care of like barrier champions and they just do more damage. That's really great. You're creating a lot of orbs, so you're constantly radiant. And blade stamina is really kind of amazing on this one. So now our sword economy is really good, even when we're not in Transcendence. All the kills that Arc Conductor do count for this. So you'll see constant ammo regeneration from this, from that mod. So that's the build, and if you want, I thought I would showcase this. I guess there's one other thing. Ergo Sum drops with a whole bunch of different exotic perks, and by far my favorite is Arc Conductor. It's really good total damage. It's really great ad clear, but I do want to point out that another really good one to grab is the Perfect Fifth, and this one is probably the highest single target damage sword of all of the Ergo Sums. So having one of each kind of makes it so that you can do whatever you want when the time comes. Switching between the two swords doesn't lose you any ammo, so you can swap back and forth between them without affecting your ammo. And we'll just get started on this. So if you want to see the kind of the showcase here, so I'm using the Arc Conductor one just to start the encounter to go through, and I'm hoping that this will be a good showcase of kind of its abilities to add clear. And then when we get to time to damage the boss, I will swap to the Perfect Fifth Ergo Sum and show you its boss damage. Oh, another thing that's kind of nice about it is, so if you pick up something like a Tangle or this weapon, you still keep your Arc Conductor active, so that's kind of nice. It definitely makes like those tangles that are constantly getting generated by our swarmers easily we can pick them up and we can use them and still have that Arc Conductor. move over here to the other side. So you can see our survivability is really good. We are, it's not quite as ammo efficient when you're not in Transcendence, but I didn't really have any issues with ammo that whole time. So we'll get out here. So at this point, we'll swap to the solar. And you can see how quick our grenade is coming back. Let's see how we did. So 1.8 is decent damage for a special weapon that's not even using a super. So we could have chose a different super and like needle stormed and then used the sword, and broken 2 million pretty easily. That was, not really a very difficult combo to pull off. So there's an example, and so there's an example of that. So you can go either way with this, with high single target damage or ad clear. Both work great. I think the ad clear one is super fun to just run around and just watch everything just kind of get deleted as you pass by. So recommend the build. It's a lot of fun. Give it a try. If you guys come up with some improvements, let me know. I would be super interested to hear them. So thank you guys.